welcome to the Turtle Tracks podcast. This is your host, Brian Van Hooker, and I'm here with Kyle Wlodyga, the Associate Art Director at Super7, who's come back to talk just about the 2003 line coming from Super7. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, anytime. Happy to. Of course, as soon as we start talking, planes start flying overhead. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Maybe the noise canceling's happening. That's good. It's pretty loud for me because I live very close to Miramar Air Base, Top
Okay.
Gun Miramar.
Oh,
So
wow.
they like to do loops over my house, especially while I'm on calls and meetings. So my apologies. If I start talking really loud, it's because I can't hear myself, not because I'm yelling at you.
No, I don't hear
So
anything.
great. I'll try and act fly casual is what I'll try to do.
So last time we talked about the Playmates inspired toys,
Yeah.
and you did 11 waves of that. And then you also mentioned how like really your turtles, the ones that like were closest to you, were the 2003 series. When did the prospect come up that the turtle Super 7 turtles can pivot to 2003?
Well, I had suggested maybe doing that or just as like a one-off wave pretty early on when I heard that we were doing Ultimates, and I know that we had done animation Ultimates of like He-Man and Skeletor and stuff, and they're beautiful figures. They're really nice. They're like a nice matte painting, and they look just like the Filmation stuff, but on your shelf. And so I was like, oh man, like if we're trying to pivot into something, or like if NECA's got 87 or 88 animation, let's do 2003. Like no one's made toys of that since the like
The two
early
series?
2000s, since like
Yeah.
the first Playmates line. And I know that there's like thousands, if not tens of thousands of other people who that was their entry point for it as
Yeah.
well. And I think it was really the pre game, or like the prior year before the 40th anniversary. So that would have been 2023, 2022. Whenever Nickelodeon started talking to us about their plans for the 40th, which would have been 2024,
Yeah.
that's when they were kind of like, hey, like we have specific partners that can do specific things, and we think you guys would be a great fit for O3. Like no one else can do this. Like we have this kind of like really slotted out just for you guys. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go, let's do it. And it was met with some resistance because I'm one of the younger people on staff, especially in the kind of direct like associate director level, or even like the VPs and stuff. And so this isn't their turtles. Like their nostalgia window is farther back than mine.
Sure.
And that's totally fine. But at the same time, like it took a lot of convincing to be like, no, guys, like really, like the those kids who watch this show are like, I know who they are because they're me. Like we have disposable income. Like we are poised to jump in here again. This is a very underserved portion of the turtles market, which is very rare nowadays. So it felt like, hey,
Oh,
I think there's a real opportunity here. And God bless them, they gave it a shot, and they trusted me. And then that guy Augie I had mentioned last time, who helped me really advocate for it. And we were off to the races, and we got this shot, which was really cool. And so I really felt like I needed to make it land, or else maybe you don't get to continue
sure.
doing 2003. We talked about how it's a miracle if anything gets past like 8 waves.
Right.
And so often it's just kind of one and done because it doesn't really land too. So you want to try and get farther than that. So I had worked on it and kind of made my pitch of like, hey guys, like this is who that customer is. This is kind of what they're expecting. This is some of the other stuff that they collect. And I know a big point for people was, Super 7 doesn't necessarily have the most like modern articulation schemes, and that's fine. It's not required for everybody, but I know that it's a big point for a lot of collectors, myself included. But this was a more modern take on turtles, and so I was able to kind of like make the case internally of like, this is a more modern take on turtles. We need a more modern articulation scheme because this is what the modern collectors are really
Hmm.
looking for. Um, Whether or not you believe that, that is what ended up like getting it to get like approved. And that's how the turtles in
Or people say,
2003 have double jointed elbows and knees, and there's a new neck system as well, and some new pivots in like the hips and torso and stuff as well.
hmm,
And I'm really, really proud of them. I think they came out really, really nice. I have a couple of them
they look so
here.
clean. They really look
Yeah,
like,
they look they
yeah,
look just like the animation.
yeah.
You probably can't really see it, but there is a lovely kind of matte finish to all of this,
Okay.
which really makes it feel like animation, like in motion, because there's no shiny plastic or anything like that. And just the additional level of posability you get out of these double joints
Yeah.
just adds so much character to what you can do with your figures. I realize we're an audio only podcast, but I'm showing
I
Brian
want to see
the guys that I have here.
the
So
listeners can wait. I just want to see these.
yeah, so here's Raph, uh,
Awesome.
his things there, and so like they can look all the way down, they can look all the way up, and that's part of that like double neck
I love that.
system and all that, and just it adds like it sounds kind of ridiculous, but just even 2 to 3 degrees of head tilt to a side can change the overall attitude of a pose of a
Yeah.
figure or anything like that. And then here's Mikey as
Excellent.
well. So yeah, they're I'm really pleased with how the spin
Okay.
effect came out for Mikey.
Yeah.
That's pulled straight from the animation. Like I like paused the screenshot and just did that. So it was yeah, it looks I'm very stoked on these. And I'm happy to say that the sales on this wave 12 was so good that we it was like, hey, like let's make the next wave 2003 too, because I think they're like they started to believe,
Sure. Yeah.
like, oh, okay, cool, like no, Kyle was right. I think there's something here. No one actually said that, and that's okay, but it definitely took a bit of convincing, and it was pretty nice. There was like a meeting a couple weeks ago where my boss was like in front of everybody, all every member of Super 7 was like, I was totally wrong. I wasn't exactly convinced by the double joints, but like they look really good. They pose really well, and the sales are there to match it. So, great job, like Kyle, you helped
Nice.
and like convinced, which was really cool because he didn't have to do that, but he did. So, yeah, and so it went well enough that, okay, like now let's get into some of the other characters because I love these turtles, but this is, the turtles are only as good as some of the bad guys and the allies that they have. And for me, like best, most effective Shredder design in all of TMNT is the 2003 Shredder
I agree. That Shredder's the greatest. He's
because
fan.
he's
Yeah.
like 8 feet tall, just
Yeah. It's huge.
gunmetal gray, like like ripped, like I don't know, very very evil, and he's an alien. Like
Yeah.
what's not? He's got everything. And also I think when I close my eyes and you picture Casey Jones, like it's the '03 Casey Jones too. And that's also the Casey I hear in my head when I read comics or whatever, that like super thick, like I'm walking in, like
Sure.
Casey Jones accent. So, yeah, and so that's like why Wave 2, I was super excited to like get into Shredder and Casey and some Foot Ninjas and obviously Splinter, who, I think Wave 1, Toy Splinter, like is pretty good. I think he's fine. I think there are a few things that I kind of wish I could have done differently on that character. And so I was able to kind of I viewed this as like a second chance to, you know, improve upon what I learned on the last Splinter that I worked on. So I think this one for 2003 is going to be a big improvement
I saw it in
in a lot
person
of
way
areas.
there, and it was like it looked spectacular.
You saw it before I did. I didn't get to see those guys in person yet. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, what were they like?
It
Describe them to me.
but it looked really. I mean, I mean, the accessory point, like all the different points of accessory on Splinter really blended well. Like I was really impressed by how good that Splinter looked in person. He was a really
Hmm, very good. Yeah, and I think I saw photos of like the paint job and stuff, and like that's that level of matte is kind of where the final, because I'm showing Brian, everybody here, the final turtles. That's kind of where they're at here. They don't really have any shine to them. There's like this
yeah, they
nice
really
matte
pop.
coat.
Yeah, at
Yeah,
least the ones I saw at least at Toy Fair, they really like I didn't know that was why because I don't have the
yeah,
look for it, but like it's such a clean looking toy.
yeah,
It just seems like I'm sorry, I really was impressed by how they're looking. You know, a question for you, like the turtles,
yeah.
when you were designing the turtles, like did it take some kind of figuring out because it's such a different aesthetic? There's almost like a superhero-y kind of thing to them. Like, did figuring out what these turtles look like in 3 dimensions was it how what was that process like?
So that was actually pretty fun. I worked with a guy he was on staff at the time, but his name is Brandon Gash. He's an incredible sculptor. He's done a bunch of stuff all over the industry. Dude's a rock star. I think he's with Mondo now, but he and I worked basically hand in hand every step of the way on these turtles, figuring it out together. I can't remember which one we got nailed down first. I want to say it was Mikey.
Okay.
But I mean, this is this is no secret. This we're talking about toys here. Like they shit. Like the four brothers like share 90% of their parts.
Oh, of
So as
course.
soon
Yeah.
as you
Why would you?
figure
Well,
out
yeah.
one brother, they all kind of fall into place. I think we started with Mikey and the push and the pull and like I remember there was a lot of discussion about because the animation and the cells like they change like
Yeah.
shot to shot. And it's, yes, there are model sheets you can find and all that stuff, but like if you remember, the key art for this show is like even more like super heroic and lithe, and like they're almost like swimmers. Like they all look like Michael Phelps. They have these like crazy long legs and these like wide like V-shaped torsos in the key
Especially
art,
their
and it's like,
early art for that. That's
yeah,
what.
that's what I'm saying. And I was like, what? No, like that's
Yeah.
not what they look like. We have to look at like the animation. Like, what does the actual like show look like? Because I think that, as good as those 2003 Playmates toys are, I think they worked a lot off of key art. Like some of their proportions are a little bit squatter, but like their heads are like they're almost like mirage heads. Like
Yes.
they're like a
You got some
pentagram
crazy
almost. They're
legs.
like a pentagon. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
I like those toys, but yeah, there's
I
definitely
do too. Yeah, they're lovely, especially for the time that. But they have like a charm. Like if you told me that, oh, this one came out in 1991, I'd believe you.
mm,
It just felt very reminiscent of what was done in the previous toy lines, which is fine because that's what they know. But it's also not what was in the show. Just like
I mean,
NECA really focused on
makes
getting the Fred Wolf aesthetic, we were like, let's get this.
always been the thing. It's not
Yeah.
like it's a different animal entirely. That's what.
Yeah, absolutely. So we like searched through the animation tirelessly. Like I have my box set here that's like always with me. And like there was a lot of discussion about I remember us talking about head shape a lot because it kept getting stretched out, which they're not. If you look at them, they're almost kind of like little chickpeas. Like they're very condensed for a turtle head. They're
Yeah.
not as wide as some of the other ones. Like they still have that kind of like those wide cheeks, but they're not the like by comparison, some of the other turtles designs are almost like Hey Arnold football heads.
Yeah, this is
So
almost
this
like
one's like
dump truck.
way more squat.
Yeah.
And then I remember we had a lot of discussion about like getting the top of the chest right because that changes like cell to cell as they move a lot as well. So we kind of found like what that happy medium looks like as well. And then it was a matter of like stylizing the muscles to kind of match what the animation looked like. So there's a lot of hard angles on this one.
Right.
You can tell that there's definitely like a big Bruce Timm influence on some of the anatomy on this.
Absolutely.
Um, but there's also a lot of anime in it as well. So it's a unique show, and I don't think there's been one that really looks like that again since. I think the only thing I can think of that was even remotely close is the 2000X He-Man,
Okay, I don't know.
um, which was, sort of that kind of hard angle. Everything's kind of like everything's kind of a pointy shape in
Mm,
a weird way, sort of like this is. But I think after many rounds of iteration or whatever, and talking and collaborating, like Brandon had like nailed it, and it was so worth it because I think like when you see these in hand, like you'll know what I mean. Just like these are the animation come to life. Uh, Probably in a way that I myself have never accomplished before, so I'm insanely proud of them.
the torso shape is really like I feel like that's such a key difference between what the cartoon looked
Yeah,
like and the
because
artwork.
these guys are thick.
Yeah, they're chunky then.
They're really thick and they're super like squat. They're like they're almost like if John Cena was a turtle, just like square, like very square shaped.
Sure.
So, um, yeah, it was a lot of fun to work with him on that. But then, what again, we like with the Playmates toys or inspired ones that we did, you figure out the turtles first because it's a turtles line. The turtles are your compass,
Yeah.
and then that helps inform everything else that you do going down the line.
We talked about the when we talked about the Playmates line,
Yeah.
you've done one turtle per wave.
Hmm.
For this, was it because of the skepticism about it in general? Like, okay, let's at the very least, let's get all four turtles. Was that the thinking?
It was a little bit of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think there was also some feedback that we had received from retail partners, licensors of like, oh, well, we found that this demographic prefers to have all of them at once. And so, you know, we figured let's try it. And, I think, I was a little bit worried at first that the success of Wave 12 was only because it was all four brothers. You're
Mm,
you're not gonna just buy like, oh, I'm only gonna buy Leo or I'm only gonna buy Donnie. Like you're here, they're all available.
sure.
Like you get the four. And I'm sure that there are plenty of people who's like, yep, I got the four brothers and I'm good. I don't need anything else,
Right, right,
which
sure.
is fine. Um, However, I'm happy to say that the sales of Wave 2 uh proved me wrong in that regard.
Oh, nice.
Because they were not, I don't believe that they were more than the brothers, but they were on par with the brothers,
That's excellent.
which made me like, okay, like it wasn't like a fluke. It wasn't just because like, oh, it's all four. Like it's it's the underserved fan base of 2003. I firmly believe that. Will there be diminishing returns if we get into your your Agent Bishops, your Rat Kings,
Sure.
uh your Ninja Tribunals? Like probably, but I think again, '03 Turtle fans are just severely underserved. Like it's just been a dry spell since 2007. So I think there's a real demand there.
I know that like I collect a lot of stuff, and there are certain lines where I'm like, I just have the four turtles for something, and I'm like, all right,
Hmm.
I just wanted to represent like I
Yeah.
let me just rise the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. So I have those four.
Hmm.
That's all I need. I don't need more than that. But I
Yeah.
mean, this show had such great side characters. Like, in addition to what you have already, like I mean, April, Karai. I mean,
Yeah.
those are huge. Like, I mean, is there is a third wave hopefully possible? Do we know or
I would say yes. I think that the like we talked about last time, the kind of tariff situation right now
sure?
throws
Yeah,
a bit of a wrench, but at the same time that changes every single day, and it's kind of hard to keep track of that. And you don't want to full on just like stop working on stuff
right.
because then once it's reactivated, you don't want to be scrambling and catch back up.
Sure.
So, I have worked on a wave three before. When that comes out, I am not sure. This whole situation right now with our industry is still developing. But I'm happy to say that I've worked on a wave three, but I'm not sure when that happens. So
I know me personally, I want like a really good Hun figure. And
yeah, Me
that
too.
boss because he's like such a
Well,
great.
he would roughly be the size of that gorilla guy I showed you earlier,
Yeah, I mean, but like such a great singular character from that show, right?
and nowhere else, pretty much, right? He showed up
Exactly.
in like IDW comics like a couple times, maybe, but that was
Yeah,
it, right? Yeah.
he's not really
So,
like that's the version of the character. I mean, obviously
yeah,
that's a great Bagster.
yeah.
I'll tell you, I want Shredder in his kimono, like that Shredder.
So, yeah, the Orokusaki of
Oh,
like from that
so
show is
cool.
just like super cool,
Yeah.
and I would love to figure out a way to like get him like to do that, but like is the kimono like a soft goods thing? You could take it
Mm,
off and it's like the business suit in there because I always thought that was like really cool too, where you get like
yes.
Yakuza Shredder kind of in a weird way. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of cool characters. Like there's also like 18,000 different versions of Shredder from that show, and they're all pretty rad. There's
Yeah,
one I can't remember what it's
that's
called.
definitely diminishing returns with
It
some.
is, but I think there's a few of them that you want to hit that like
Sure.
have the most potential. That's like Demon Shredder, which is pretty rad.
Mhm.
And then the other one that I really want to do is the like four-armed mecha Shredder with the
Oh yeah,
Utrom in like the thing, and like the helmet comes off and it's a Terminator skull underneath it. Like that's the Shredder that I want because it would also be like this big and just like
sure.
it's it's shredders that you've not seen in toy form before. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for, like a demon shredder, like a mecha shredder, like a even I think feudal shredder would be pretty cool
Yes, that was
from
a
the
cool sweater.
flashbacks. Yeah.
That would be cool.
So but then
Yeah,
yeah, like there's Agent Bishop you could do. There's a Rat King. Obviously, Leatherhead is a big deal in the show too. Like I want to do Leatherhead as well, and then April, obviously.
sure.
Um, Baxter. I want to do like just like a Baxter box set or
All
something
the
because he's
different
yeah, like the
figure
lab coat,
returns.
the Iron Man suit, the head in the jar, like all of
Yeah,
it. Um, yeah, Nano could be interesting, but again, I think that's in the diminishing returns section.
that's such a cool character from that
He's
show.
cool, but it's like
Yeah,
again, do you do the like the Pokemon evolutions where he's like the little one, the medium one, and then the like giant one?
sure. I like that little baby character they had. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I part of me thinks like, do I throw, do you throw a nano baby in with an April or
I mean, that's not a
something?
bad
And
idea. At least it gets some service.
yeah, it recognizes nano's like existence, but then the only problem with that is, you do it once and they're like, oh, you got to do the big one now. It's like, yeah, but it's would you spend $100 on a big nano? Like, probably not. So I don't know. There's all these considerations you have to think of. So I did do a little earlier this year. I did like a whole exercise of okay, let's say that we're here for a few waves. Like, what does that look like? So I got to do some line planning stuff, which was cool. There's also all the different like turtle iterations too. There's like the Battle Nexus armor you could put on them. There's the under like the street clothes turtles where they're all like in their beanies and like
Hey,
jackets and
huh?
disguised and stuff. I feel like disguised turtles for some reason always does really well for whoever makes them. Um, Casey in his like trench coat. You could do Casey with a bike, Raph with his bike.
Sure.
There's like 8,000 different versions of Foot Ninjas. There's the
Turtle Titan.
Karai robots as well.
Turtle Titan would be a good one.
Turtle Time would be cool. Yeah, all the and then like the superhero turtles, and then there's like a couple dream sequences which are super weird, where like Raph is Shredder, and like
There's also
it's
the one where they go to the
wild.
future, that future Leo, or there's some cool shit in that show. There really
There's
is.
there's the Raph that like is it Raph or is it Mikey that's like missing an arm in the future? It's like Days of Future Past turtles, and
Yeah,
they're all
yeah, yeah.
old
And
and
that's the
messed
one
up.
with Leo with the glasses, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
There's a lot. There's a lot of ways to go for sure.
yeah, there's a ton. There's a bunch of cool ways you could do it, and that's the thing is like it feels like there's all kinds of stuff you could do. I mean, even Usagi Yojimbo is in
Yeah,
2003.
and he looks great. He looks totally
I
different.
know. And then he's also got the what's the Rhino guy who hangs out with Usagi? He's also in the
Jen or
show.
Jen? I don't remember what his name is, but
Jen. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, man. Obviously I'm excited. This is the turtle version that I'm
Sure,
like
yeah.
excited to do. But it sounds like you are too. Sounds like other people are.
Oh,
It's
very
the
much.
certainly, it sucks to say, but the only thing that these companies respond to is sales and money and numbers, and so far that response has been good. So thank you to everybody who's supported the line so far. Keep it up if you want more, you know.
I saw this Shredder in person too, and he's also
Oh
huge
yeah.
and like
Okay.
clean looking. Um,
Well, we talked about scale last time.
yeah,
And so that was like again, you figure out the turtles and
sure,
then you measure everybody else up from that. So you look at because there's a few screenshots where Raph and Casey are squaring up, like looking at each other, and you can tell how tall Raph is supposed to be.
sure.
And then there's a couple scenes. There's like one scene I think where Shredder just kind of like backhands Casey,
Mm,
and so that's how you figure out how tall Casey is in relation to Shredder. And so you see it's like this like Russian nesting doll domino effect of like, okay, you
sure.
start with this one and then you have to figure out the scale of everything else as it goes
Is Shredder much bigger than
along.
Casey? I'm trying to think.
So as I remember it, and I could look it up, but like, yeah, so the turtles are like at Casey's shoulder,
Okay.
and then Casey is at Shredder's shoulder.
No shit.
Yeah. And that like and that's how we
That's
understood it. That's how we like after all of this research and all that stuff. Like so I think it's good because like him and like Casey is average Joe 6 foot 6 foot 2 ish
sure. Yeah.
kind of guy. And so we scale like I think of him as your Vitruvian man, like this is your average human male, right?
Sure, yeah.
And so you scale him, and then you basically just make foot soldiers the exact same size. They're maybe a little bit skinnier because like Casey in this show is absolutely jacked.
Big. Yeah.
Um, so it's just easy, like you said, like once you kind of figure it out, the dominoes fall into place and how you figure out scale for everything. But everything is constantly referenced in like to each other to make sure that it's all looking correct and all that stuff. You don't want like something wildly out of scale. So
Was Splinter tough to figure out like where to articulate his feet because he's got those like
yeah, because he's got those horse legs. Yeah.
yeah,
So yes, especially because we were doing the double joints on him as well.
right.
So he has double jointed knees, and what you count as the knee. So like there's the thigh where it connects to the body,
Okay.
like that knee. So it's a double joint there, and then his like calf is a straight connection,
Okay.
and then his like long ass foot
Right.
that goes down is like a standard pivot
Okay.
joint. So that was kind of the rules. Like you just kind of, this is where like, studying animal anatomy in college was actually helpful because you figure out like, okay, like everybody's built the same way. It's just like what direction is your joint going? So,
I love the fact that include those hands like he could crouch down and put his hand on the ground kind of stuff.
mhm.
I love that.
There's a little bit of that and
A lot of Yoda in this Splinter, which I really like.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. There's a few key art poses that like we referenced where he's like meditating and then or
Yes.
like doing like a cool
Yes.
crouch pose, that kind of stuff. And I think stuff like that is like a nice flourish. Because like the Playmates Shredder or Splinter that we did in Wave One came with like a cup of tea and like a little walking stick and stuff, which like are nice, like little, it's like everyday life kind of
Yeah.
stuff for Splinter. Sorry, I keep getting them confused. But for this one again, we had costume packs and stuff, and it was like, okay, like how do we like portray the, like you said, Yoda like nature of this version of Splinter with without additional accessories, with keeping cost in line. And so that's the closed eye head, that's the flat
Dude, I love
hands,
that choice.
that's
That's
all that
great.
stuff.
I love
Yeah.
the fact he can be meditating. That's cool.
That was, I mean, that's how I plan. I want to have him like cross-legged, just kind of like
Yeah.
closed eyes. Like that's how I want to display him. Because yeah, he kicks ass, but he's like, I think that second only to maybe the movie, like the '90s movie Splinter. I think he's like the most like contemplative wisdom,
Oh, sure.
like
Yeah.
dispensing splinter out of all of the ones that we've seen.
I'd love to talk about the shredder. I
Sure.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
My
sword
favorite.
goo, great choice
Yeah.
for accessories.
I mean,
The
it's there. He
very nice.
spends like most of the first or second season that you see him in just trying
Yeah.
to get that sword. It's all he talks about.
It's got the little Utron head on it, I assume. I can't see it from the angle that it's in the picture.
It does. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's got the little thing on there, and there's a bonus pack, which I guess confused people. If you pre-order directly from us, you get this like bonus pack of accessories and heads and stuff, and it comes with a sort of Tengu, but it's not the sort of Tengu. Like the main Shredder assortment comes with the sword,
Okay.
but the bonus pack you get for pre-ordering from us comes with a glow-in-the-dark version of the sword, which is because he kind of like powers it up or
Yeah,
whatever.
sure. That's perfect.
So it's just like a fun little toyetic kind of nod to that. I think that confused some people, but
Oh,
wanted to
is
clarify
that
that.
hand? Can you just pop off Shredder's hand and put that hand on?
So that Shredder doesn't need it. Shredder doesn't need the glove to use the sword
Oh, right.
because
Leo?
well, because he's a robot, but that hand works with the turtles. So you can pop your turtle's hand off and then it just goes on top of it, and then now either your Leo or your Donnie can wield the sword.
Can I tell you something? It's completely accurate to the show because I remember it driving me fucking crazy in the show.
Yeah,
The idea that the turtle's hand can fit into a glove with four fingers.
I know. I know.
I hate it. I
I
hate it in
know.
the
I
show.
know. I thought about that and I was like,
It's
do we
accurate.
I was like, do we change it? And I was like, no, because the show has the four fingers in every shot that I've ever seen it in. Like it's dumb, but we have to do it. So
Oh, it's
you're
so upsetting. I know. I just it still bugs me that was hilarious. How?
Mhm. I don't worry about it, is what I would say. Don't
The
worry about it.
the shredder does his is there any like the Utrom shredder Terrell?
Hmm.
Can he go in the torso of Shredder?
So we tried to figure that out,
Okay.
and in order to keep the articulation the way that it is, we couldn't figure out a way to like take that existing Utrom and put it in the torso.
Okay.
If we wanted to, we could have done like a separate plate or something.
Like pop it or whatever.
Yeah. But I don't know. To me, it felt like that's a better thing for another version down the line. Is it a battle damage one or like the mecha shredder or something like that?
Sure. Okay.
And because there's plenty of times where Trell is just kind of on the loose and just kind of crawling around on the
Oh
ground
yeah,
like a
he's
little
yeah.
critter. Um, so there's a really fun scene. I can't remember it, but like I think the first time he's revealed to be an Utrom, like he pops out of the chest and starts like face hugging, like I think it's like Mikey. He's like screaming. It's really fun. Um, but yeah, and it's kind of it's more of just a nod, like an acknowledgement that like we know that he's a
Gotcha.
Neutron. So and we thought it'd be a fun accessory.
Well, one of the cool accessories to like the what if you pre-ordered it through Super 7 too is the screaming trailhead. Like
Yeah.
that was such a great you like both of those Utrons that you've done.
Hmm.
I can see the frame from the show
Sure.
in the toy.
Well, good. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Trying to make the show, but on your shelf.
Any unique challenges you wanted to point out about Series 2?
Um, no, not really. I mean, I think what we really struggled with for the turtles on articulation was making the pads not hinder the movement at all on
Mm,
the elbows and knees. What I will say is that with like Casey and Foot Soldier and all these guys, none of them have knee pads or elbow pads.
right.
So it was infinitely easier to make sure that the range worked and get all that stuff because there's just not that extra complication. So that was great. I think probably the biggest challenge was the styling again because by this point, Brandon no longer worked at Super 7.
Okay.
And so I had two of the other internal sculptors, Dave White again of Party Wagon fame, and another guy named Tom Schunard, great guy as well. So Tom worked on Casey and Splinter, and then Dave did Shredder and Foot Soldier
Okay.
and or Foot Ninja. And so they, I sent them the files from the turtles, and I was like, okay, like here's my drawings, here's my concept art, here's all the reference I used for this stuff, and then here are Brandon's files for the turtles. Like we need to make sure that they feel like they family together.
Hmm.
And it was just like Brandon. It was a lot of back and forth and talking to them every single day about making sure the style's right and feeling like it's familyed in with these 2003 turtles. So that would be the biggest challenge, but I think it worked out really, really well. I mean, you saw him in person, so
Oh yeah, they look fantastic.
yeah.
Is it frustrating that Shredder's shoulder pad? It must restrict the movement because it's how doesn't it? Right? Was
It
that
does a little it does a little bit, but I think that there's some toy development tricks that we used in there
oh
that
nice?
have limited it to the minimum hindrance possible. So
Oh
like
nice, like what?
they'll
Like
be soft and they have like a little hinge and so they'll move out of the way and
oh perfect,
that kind
that's
of
awesome.
stuff.
I
Yeah.
wasn't, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Well, yeah. Well, what you saw at Toy Fair were the hard resin prototypes. So if you looked at them funny, they would shatter into a million pieces.
Got it.
They're not actual plastic just yet.
I was impressed by the mask. I mean, like
Mm.
the curve, whatever the spiky middle
His
part.
little crest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like that curve, the slight curve of that. I don't know, something about that. I was like, I don't know. I was very mesmerized looking at that. Like just how delicately and perfectly it was like shaped. It was very
Well,
cool.
it changed again. That's one of those weird ones that changes frame to frame.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It looks different from the front, and then oh, here's an in between cell of him from the side, and it's like like a Nike swoosh. You're like, what is that? That's not what it looks like. So it is again just going back and forth between the reference and what's there and like what we feel like looks correct. So thank you, because that stuff like that's not easy where it changes so often.
Sure. You just got to make a choice and be like, okay, this is probably, even though it's only right 50% of the time or less, you'll
Sure.
be like,
But if it looks good, then who cares?
right, sure.
So,
I also appreciate the little, like, I love that foot symbol from that
mm,
photo to me is the coolest foot symbol ever.
that's my favorite one too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the best. It's the best
Yeah.
one.
Hmm.
The other one's like, I mean, I love the other one too because it's silly.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
looks really cool. So like the belt thing with the swoosh, this little
Hmm.
sash. Like it's funny you don't realize how like I don't know the flourish that adds to the design of the character, but it,
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be even more flourished, I don't know. Because the plan is to have that belt be like wired soft goods. So you'll be able to pose it however you want. So it's like a
oh wow,
cape, but it's like a long scarf belt thing.
no shit.
So that'll add like a lot of movement and drama to your figure once you have it.
Well, series one. No, so what can you pre-order? I mean, this is going to drop in June when
Yeah.
the first wave is coming out. Is it
Okay.
available to get like at Big Bad
So
Toy?
so wave one right now, if you missed out on the pre-order, select retailers will have some in stock. That's your Big Bed toy stores, your Entertainment Earths, check your local comic stores, Diamond distributors, those kinds of guys. Amazon might even have some too, as well.
Oh, nice, very cool.
But the easiest, most guaranteed way to get it and know that you're getting it is to pre-order from us at super7.com.
That's still available.
And
Looks like wave one.
I believe super7.com, no. So that's the
Yeah,
problem is you have to do it within the window for us.
sure.
But if you miss the window or don't want us to pay up front, which is fine, you can go to one of those other retailers as well. You may end up paying a little bit more depending on shipping prices, whatever. But that's what those guys are for as well. Is if you miss the window but you still want to get in, you can get it that way.
And wave two is that that's not
Wave two is the pre-order is closed, so it would be the same options there as well. Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, what have you. So
cool. And then and when are we getting Hun? Because I need that kit.
if we if we get a Hun, I would imagine it would be sooner rather than later.
Sure.
If it's not within the first 5 waves, you can come after me. How's that?
Uh, okay, so I'm all set. I wanted to ask you, like, what's for fun?
Sure.
I already asked you favorite turtle before, so let's not do that again.
That's okay. I
Like,
mean,
is there
you
deep?
you don't really have repeat guests, so you got to
Not
think of a
often.
second
Yeah,
question. Yeah.
yeah. Is there a deep cut?
Okay.
Not in the same day.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
my other discussion went on way too long.
All good.
Is there a deep cut character or villain or something from the 2003 line that like you'd want to see in the 10th wave of this thing that you don't like? It's really deep that you really love. You did
Hmm.
Nan already, so maybe that's it. But
I mean, Nano's pretty close, pretty up there. There, there's a what's his name? There's like a. I feel like some of the Triceratons would be cool to make.
oh,
There's
like
like a there's like a shirtless barbarian Triceraton whose name escapes me.
Maximus.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Traximus. That would be cool. Because I mean, you want to do like your Commander Mozart or whatever. Is
yeah,
that his
you want
name?
those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You think of Triceratons as like villains, but it's if I remember correctly, Traximus is like kind of a
his
good
buddy because
dude.
they're in that arena thing and they
Yeah.
have to escape and then yeah, no,
Yeah.
Maximus
Yeah.
is awesome. That's
Just
great.
a big naked shirtless
Also, the
Triceratops. I know
Traximus.
that NECA made one, but I feel like it's kind of a deep cut, so I would definitely do
No,
that.
that's Zog.
Okay. But it's still naked Triceraton.
Right.
It's not about whose name it is.
The totally
It's the
different
idea of
naked
a naked
Triceratops.
Triceraton on shelf somewhere.
Traximus would be cool because I don't know if you've ever seen it. The
Yeah.
Playmates figure for Traximus, shit.
Okay. Okay.
Like it was one. I don't know what the hell they were doing. It was one of these things where it was these toys. God, I hated it. It was like it was a button in the middle, and you hit the button, it would like those like little toys where you'd squeeze them, and like it was like a little puppet thing where like it was like a
Oh yeah, the little like marionette things and it
yeah,
falls
it
over.
was
Yeah.
like that.
Oh
They did that for Traximus and Jen, the Usagi's buddy, and
yeah.
they did maybe like four characters like this that they
Uh-huh.
didn't sell any other way, and just these shitty action feature that ruined the toy. So
Yeah.
we need to get Traximus.
Yeah, Traximus would be cool. And
Yeah.
then I guess the other thing I mentioned it earlier, but there's like a dream sequence where Raphael is the Shredder, and it's literally just Raph's head on Shredder. Even has like the human like fingers and stuff.
Ugh.
But it's like it's got like a sepia tone, like evil looking, glowing red eyes. Like I don't know. I feel like that's kind of cool. It's
There's
just like a
a
Shredder Raph.
there's a comic book where Shredder Raph wears the Shredder armor for a while. Image
Yeah.
Comics did it, and he looked cool. It was like it
Hmm.
was turtle shaped.
Yeah.
He was cool.
Yeah. No, this is literally same Shredder shape, but it's got Raph's head on it
Oh my
because
god,
it's Dream. So
sure.
that's why I'm into it. So,
I mean, and if you ever got to Turtles Forever, there's some cool stuff from that.
oh,
Like,
obviously Turtles Forever
yeah,
because you want to do that. Like, there's a whole refresh there you can do. It's like, oh, here it's all four brothers, but now it's Turtles Forever. You know.
yeah.
So I think there's definitely stuff in Turtles Forever I would do. So
Anyway, man, this is a pleasure. Thanks so much for your time. Oh my god,
anytime.
I'm sorry.
You're
Anyway,
good. You're
thank you
good.
so much. Appreciate talking to you. This was a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to all this stuff. So thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out. This was a lot of fun. I'll have to do it again.
Turtles, count it on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turtles. Mutant chain reaction. Turtles. Living underground. Turtles. Ninjutsu action. Turtles. It's a shell of a town. Turtles, count it on. 1. We fight the code of the martial arts. 2. Never fight unless someone else starts. 3. Always stick together no matter what. 4. If all else fails, then it's time to keep fighting. There's no one better. Watch out for Shredder. They're like no other.